In the January-February issue of Photoshop User, I did a little technique in the classic effects called Exaggerate, where you take one photo and make a part bigger. And in each case, I used a picture of a person holding money, or a person with a book, or two people. But then I didn't want you to think, if you read that it only worked with people. So here's another example. I have a high-resolution photo of a golf green. Now, if you didn't read the tutorial, go and read it now. No, I'm just kidding. But if you didn't read it, the whole concept is you start with a high-resolution file, and then you make a copy, duplicate the image, and then right away we're going to lower the resolution down of that one. And that's the only way this is going to work. So this only works if you can afford to have a lower resolution for the final product. If you can't, then, well, this technique is not going to work. So basically this is going to be our finished one. And all we have to do here is take the part that we want to exaggerate. And I'm going to use my elliptical marquee tool and grab an area around the hole, feather it a fair bit, probably around 20 or so, and then take my move tool. Now, because I'm dragging from a high resolution to a lower resolution, the element that I copy is going to be much, much larger. And basically what I want to do is make it look like this is the easiest golf green in the world because it has a huge hole compared to a normal one. So now I have the element that I need, and I basically now have to start making it, trying to look at least like it matches in. So I'm just going to add a layer mask. Let me pull on my layers palette so you can actually see this. Move this over a bit. And basically just start trying to blend it in a little better. So I'll start off with a fairly big paintbrush. I want to get rid of, because as you can see, that because of the more detail in here, it's fairly obvious. Now we're going to have to do some definite work here to make it appear as though it's working. Let's zoom in a little closer here. Make a smaller brush. I'm using the left bracket key. Try and get, I want it to still look like the original flagpole. Whoops, a little too far there because I just erased part of saw the original hole too much there. So let's take the move tool and just kind of start tweaking this a bit. I want hopefully the kind of shadow to match up and so on. So now at this point I just have to do a bit more maneuvering. So back to our brush tool, get a much smaller brush. I'm going to zoom in even further even though I don't have the best quality to do so. And let's get rid of some of this other stuff in here. Try and be pretty careful around the hole itself. And then let's get a really small brush like this. I'm going to click once and then hold down the shift key and click again to try and mask out as much of that sort of thick pole. And then the final step to get it to really try and look realistic would be to do some clone stamping in here. So I've clicked on the regular layer, not the layer mask, so that I can start to try to copy things like the edge of the hole on each side, and then the inner workings of the hole, so that once again it ends up hopefully looking kind of like a skinny pole. Now we're zoomed in pretty far, so obviously it looks a little bit bad. But if we zoom back out again, see, with a bit of effort, I mean, I did that pretty quickly, but you get the idea where now it looks like a golf course that's very easy because it's got such a huge hole before and now. And it works because we're taking a high resolution to a low resolution. So take a look at that article in the magazine, and then this is another variation on the same thing, just to show you don't have to use people for this to work. So just remember, the key to this is going from higher resolution to a lower resolution one, then the fun begins, and you can do all kinds of, that's just weird. I'm Dave Cross. I'll see you next time.